There's something quietly unsettling about moments when life looks fine on the outside, yet something inside you feels off. You're functioning, you're showing up, you're doing what you're supposed to do. And still, there is this lingering sense that you're not okay, even though you can't point to a clear reason why. Have you ever noticed how confusing it feels to struggle without a visible problem? You tell yourself you shouldn't feel this way, nothing terrible is happening. Other people have it worse. So why does your chest feel heavy? Why does everything feel a little dull? Why does happiness feel distant, like something you understand intellectually but can't fully touch? This kind of discomfort is hard to explain because it doesn't come with drama. There's no crisis, no obvious breakdown. Just a quiet disconnect between how things should feel and how they actually do. And that disconnect often leads to self-doubt. You start questioning yourself. Maybe you're ungrateful. Maybe you're overthinking. Maybe you're just too sensitive. So you keep going. You keep performing normalcy. You keep telling yourself it'll pass, but it doesn't, not really. And this is where it gets interesting. Feeling not okay when things are objectively fine is often a sign of emotional misalignment, not failure. It's what happens when your inner world hasn't caught up with the version of life you're reliving on the outside. Many people reach stability before they reach safety. You might have achieved independence, routine, or success, but your nervous system is still running on older rules. Rules shaped by past uncertainty, emotional inconsistency, or the need to adapt early. So even though life looks calmer now, your body hasn't fully relaxed into it. You're no longer in survival mode, but you're not fully at ease either. The in-between state can feel strangely empty. You might notice it when accomplishments don't bring relief, when good news doesn't land the way you expected, when rest doesn't restore you, or when you feel disconnected from emotions you know you're supposed to feel. And because there's no obvious problem, you assume the problem must be you. But here's the thing. Your mind and body don't respond to logic alone. They respond to safety, familiarity, and emotional truth. If your system learned early on that stability doesn't last, or that being calm means being unprepared, then even good moments can feel subtly unsafe. So instead of enjoying them, you stay guarded. You might overthink small things. You might feel emotionally flat. You might feel like you're always waiting for something, without knowing what. This isn't because you're broken. It's because your system hasn't learned how to settle into okay without suspicion. For some people, this comes from growing up needing to be responsible too soon. For others, it comes from environments where emotions weren't welcomed, or where being fine was expected regardless of how you felt. Over time, you learn to prioritize appearance over experience. You learn how to look okay, without necessarily feeling it, and that skill works. Until it doesn't. Eventually, your inner world starts asking for attention. Not loudly, not dramatically, just through a quiet sense of unease that refuses to go away. You might try to fix it by changing something external. A new routine, a new goal, a new distraction. And sometimes that helps, briefly. But the feeling comes back because it isn't asking for stimulation. It's asking for acknowledgement. Here's the truth, and I'll say it gently. You don't feel okay because part of you hasn't been met yet. Not validated, not listened to, not allowed to take up space. And until that happens, no amount of doing fine will create inner peace. This doesn't mean something is wrong with your life. It means something inside you wants to be included, not managed, minimized, or rushed past. Healing this isn't about finding a dramatic cause. It's about slowing down enough to notice what you've been carrying quietly, the disappointments you didn't process, the needs you learned to silence, the emotions you told yourself weren't important enough to feel. You don't have to fall apart to be valid. You don't need a crisis to deserve care. And you don't need to justify why you're struggling if the struggle is real to you. Sometimes, feeling okay comes after you stop pretending you already are. That might look like admitting you're tired, emotionally, not physically. or allowing yourself to feel confused without immediately demanding clarity, or letting go of the pressure to be grateful and functional at the same time. You're allowed to be stable and still unsettled. You're allowed to be doing well and still feel lost. You're allowed to question your happiness without invalidating your progress. Nothing about this makes you weak. It makes you honest. And honesty is where alignment begins. Slowly, as you give your inner world permission to exist, without fixing it, that constant background tension starts to soften. You begin to feel more present, more connected, more real inside your own life, not because everything changed, but because you finally let yourself show up internally, not just externally. You don't need to force yourself to feel okay. You need to let yourself be where you actually are. That's when things really start to get real.